Outcasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, guys? It's Cody here from the Outcasted OC podcast, and welcome to the 2024 Royal Rumble review. I'm going to give you guys a quick recap on what happened at the Royal Rumble this year because I feel as though there is a lot to talk about, but I kind of want to condense this down in a way that's easy to digest so that I don't give very much away in terms of what's happened, so that you guys can go and watch it for yourself. So if you want to know what happened at the Royal Rumble this year, make sure you go ahead and stay tuned in the video. But before that, if you have not done so, please make sure you go ahead and check out our YouTube channel. We actually did a live watch along for the Royal Rumble this year. So myself, Ross and G, we were all live during the Royal Rumble. So if you want to see any of our reactions that actually happened in real time, make sure you go ahead and check out that stream because we had so much fun doing that. It was a lot of fun predicting people who were going to come out next and obviously the result of matches going into the Rumble. So the Royal Rumble match card actually only had 4 matches, which I was quite surprised by, but they did manage to pad it out in terms of time. Considering there were 2 Royal Rumble matches, we knew fully well they were both going to take at least an hour. You normally find with the Royal Rumble event in itself, the marquee matches are the 30-man and the 30-woman battle royal kind of style matches. So basically any other matches that fall onto the match card sometimes don't really get as much love as they need, and that's because the event is solely just about the Royal Rumble matches. Starting off on the Royal Rumble card this year, we had the women's 30-woman Royal Rumble match actually starting off the show. I am not going to lie to you when I say that I wish this actually main evented because I preferred the women's Royal Rumble match over the men's Royal Rumble match. And I'm not lying to you in saying that this is probably the best women's Royal Rumble match that they have actually done ever. The way that they showcased the women's division from Raw, SmackDown, NXT and bringing in people was fantastic. It showed how incredibly deep the roster was and how stacked it is when WWE actually gives their women a chance to shine. A little disappointed at the beginning because Natalya actually started off the match, but this was for good reason because we had the returning Naomi from TNA. So Naomi left WWE, went to TNA and she debuted as Trinity Fatu. Then she came back at the Royal Rumble this year to the women's division and in WWE, and I literally cried. I am so happy to see that she's home. I don't know where she's going to land, whether it's on Raw, SmackDown or anywhere. I, to be honest, don't really mind. I'm so happy that she's back. I feel as though, and I said this on the stream, I feel as though her time away actually really served her well. Gave her an opportunity to work on her gimmick, work on her character, work on her being more than just a one-dimensional character, and actually gave her a chance to step in the ring with some fresh faces, some fresh talent, and some fresh athletes for her to come away with some new things to learn. So her and Natalya started off the match, and then Bayley came in, and straight away, like, the match was fantastic. There's a lot of history in between a lot of the contenders that were in, and not only did we have Naomi return, we actually had Jordynne Grace, who is the TNA Knockout Women's Champion, debut at the Royal Rumble, and I was completely shocked to see that she was there. She did an incredible, stellar job. There were so many women that she faced off in that ring against that if she actually did join WWE, I would love to see her in a match with. The likes of Piper Niven, Nia Jax, she went up against, who else? Bianca Belair. Like, she faced off against so many women. Ivy Nile as well. She had so many great interactions with WWE talent that it genuinely made me excited if she was actually going to come and join the company. The match was flowing really well. We started to get a lot deeper into the match in terms of women coming out, and we actually had the debuting Jade Cargill as well too. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. She looked incredible. She looked stunning. She looked flawless. She looked fantastic. $1,000,000. I had a feeling she was going to debut at the Royal Rumble this year, and I'm so incredibly happy that she did. She looked incredible. She came out and you could tell that she has been training, she has been working hard. Her in-ring work is starting to look a lot better, and I'm so happy that she's actually getting this opportunity to shine. There was a moment where Nia Jax was actually in the match, and it looked like it was going to take 6 or 7 women to actually boot Nia Jax out of the match. But Jade Cargill came in and she said, no, I got this on my own, and she literally threw Nia Jax outside of the ring, which I said if she was going to come in the Royal Rumble, she needs a really good career-defining defining moment straight off the bat for people to know who she is, pick up on what she's done, and for people to get behind her. And that exact moment of her booting Nia Jax outside of the ring was how people now will know her, which is fantastic. It's quite funny seeing her throw out Nia Jax, and then Becky looked at her and was like laughing because Nia Jax got kicked out of the match, and then they kind of faced off. It was quite interesting. I really enjoyed seeing Jade get a chance to flourish, and the 30th person in the Royal Rumble was actually Liv Morgan. Now, I did say this in my TikTok review, I don't really like Liv Morgan, and that's nothing against her personally. I just don't resonate to her character. I don't know what it is that is disconnecting with me and her, and that's totally fine. You have wrestlers that you like and wrestlers that you don't like, and that is totally fine. I just felt as though it's hard to say because I felt as though she didn't really need to be in the Rumble. I kind of would have hoped that she would have gotten a moment at another time, or somebody else who definitely should have been in the Rumble came back and actually did it. We didn't get many legends returning, if any legends, and I think that really goes to show how deep the roster is. We did have Tiffany Stratton come up from NXT, which I was so incredibly excited by. I think if you were going to showcase anybody on NXT, it was her, as well as Roxanne Perez came in. Like I say, Tiffany is probably one of the top women in NXT, so I definitely think her getting shown at the Rumble was great. All in all, it was a fantastic match. Bayley was actually the Iron Woman of the match, and she not only was the Iron Woman of the match, she broke the record for being the longest woman in the match, and she also won it as well. I was so incredibly happy to see that Bayley won it, not only storyline-wise, but just for her. I'm so happy that she won the match. She definitely deserves it. She's done a lot for the company within the last couple of years, helping get Damage Control over, that I very much see them giving her this win as a reward. So I'm so excited to see where we go from here. During the match as well too, we actually got to see backstage clips of Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, who are the champions. They were actually watching the match, keeping an eye on things to make sure that certain people weren't going to win. And at the end of the match, when Bayley won, nobody from Damage Control came out to not only congratulate her, but Io Sky looked really scared and confused in the backstage segment once Bayley had won. She was a bit like, what do we do here? Like, we didn't expect Bayley to actually go ahead and win it. But anyway, as I say, I can't fault this Rumble. There was a few people in there that I didn't really think needed to be in the Rumble, but nonetheless, really great match, showcased a lot of the women, and that's all I can hope for as a women's wrestling fan. I feel as though that was a perfect way to show your division, and I really hope that we get to see more Rumbles like that in the future. Next up, we had the Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Now, this was Randy Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles all taking on Roman Reigns for the title. It very much went the way that I thought it was going to go. All three men who were challenging Roman went and basically ganged up on each other, threw a lot of their moves towards each other, and then Roman came in and kind of bit the pieces off the bones when he had a chance to, in terms of actually getting his moves in and getting offense in. Now, I was quite disappointed by this match because Roman Reigns has the opportunity to actually prove that he can beat people clean, but he's still needing the bloodline to come and help him. I completely understand that that is a part of his gimmick, but it's getting quite frustrating and quite tiring to continually see him needing help from somebody else to beat a group of people or beat an individual wrestler, when realistically, if he wants to prove himself as a dominant god and a dominant heel, he needs to be able to do this on his own. The match finishes are getting quite predictable every single time. The ref gets bumped out, they don't get to count the other person's, it's just getting a bit mundane and a bit ridiculous at this point. And to be honest, I would actually much rather not see Roman Reigns defend the title if we know that we're going to get a finish like we always get. I would much rather say, I don't want to see Roman defend the title unless he can actually do it on his own. And I get that that's a part of the story, but it's just really frustrating because I feel like this match, it's not the men's fault. I think it's just the predictable storyline and the predictable finish of a Roman Reigns match that really kind of just puts a dampener on it. And if this was at the end of the show, like if this was the main event, it would be a different story, but we still had 2 other matches to come. So I very much felt as though it kind of put a dampener on the event for me. The match kind of felt like it dragged on for longer than it needed to. Solo Sikoa did come out and help him, but I was just kind of, I'm getting a bit bored of Roman Reigns, and I feel like I'm not the only person who's feeling the same way. After this, we had the United States Championship match, so we had Kevin Owens challenging Logan Paul for the championship. I really enjoyed this match. I felt like Logan and Kevin had a lot of heat between each other. They had a lot of great chemistry together, and they worked really well in the ring. Logan was targeting that arm of Kevin Owens. Now, he wasn't wearing the cast, but Logan was very much targeting that arm of his, obviously knowing it is not fully healed. And Kevin was just basically fighting back, and it was a really fantastic match. There was a moment where we actually got to see that Logan Paul had some people, like some of his friends, sitting ringside, and there was a moment where Logan was trying to signal to one of his friends to pass him the brass knuckles to obviously come away with the win and obviously beat up on Kevin Owens. But the ref realized, and then there was a whole bunch of distractions going on, and then a whole bunch of security came out, and then Grayson Waller and Austin Theory actually came out and started distracting the refs, and then Austin ended up giving Logan Paul the brass knuckles. There was a moment where it looked like Kevin Owens had been beaten down with them, but then that was a near fall, so he didn't actually get the pin on Kevin. Then Kevin Owens actually grabbed the brass knuckles, and the ref caught Kevin Owens using them, thinking that he was going to use them. Instead, Kevin was just trying to take them away from Logan. So Logan Paul won the match via disqualification, so Kevin Owens he unfortunately did not beat Logan Paul. Kind of ended in a way where it looked like Kevin was leaving the ring, and then he went back in and started beating down on Logan Paul. So I'm assuming that we're going to see a second match from these two, potentially at Elimination Chamber. I'm so incredibly here for it. I feel like you can get a lot more legs out of this feud, and I'd love to see where they go from here. Main event, we had the Men's Royal Rumble. Now, this was actually a little bit more interesting than I was expecting it to be. I definitely think we have seen better Royal Rumbles from the men come in the past, but this one had a lot of notable moments. Straight away from the beginning, Jey Uso was the number one pick in the Rumble, so he came out and made his entrance, and then we had Jimmy Uso come out number two. I knew fully well that they were going to have their moment together where they obviously face off in the ring, but I didn't expect it to be, starting 1 and 2 in the Royal Rumble. I thought they were going to have a moment later on. But anyway, these guys start fighting back and forth. And then the fourth Royal Rumble entrant we get is actually a returning Andrade. I was so excited to see this. I knew fully well that he would be making his way back to WWE after him exiting AEW. I'm so excited to see him. I'm wondering where he's going to go. There was a moment where Santos Escobar comes into the match, and Santos tries to get Andrade on his side, but Andrade's like, I don't want any part of this. I feel as though for me, when it comes to this Royal Rumble match, I definitely think it did lack a little bit of depth, and that's not anybody's fault in particular. I think we saw a lot of people coming in from Monday Night Raw in this match. We saw a few SmackDown superstars, but not nearly as many as we saw from Monday Night Raw. We saw a handful of superstars come in from NXT, so we saw Carmelo Hayes and Bron Breakker come in. Bron Breakker had a phenomenal showing in this match. He got a lot of eliminations and a lot of spots to shine in the match, which I definitely think you needed. There was moments where he was going up against Gunther as well too, which I think could potentially be foreshadowing him joining the Intercontinental Championship picture, which if he gets called up to the main roster, I really wouldn't mind seeing that. There's a moment as well too where Pat McAfee actually got entered in the Royal Rumble. Now, he was very much confused with what was going on. He was going to make his way into the ring a couple of times, but not only Bron Breakker but Omos were both kind of looking at him, and he very much got scared, jumped over the top ropes and ran away, which I found quite funny. Obviously, CM Punk enters the match and everybody goes crazy. Everybody starts thinking that CM Punk is going to go ahead and win it. He's putting on a phenomenal show considering that this is his first televised match since returning back to WWE. He doesn't look like he's missed a beat, and I was really happy to actually see him in the ring. There was moments where he looked like he was kind of running out of breath or out of pace a little bit. There was moments where he kind of quietened off in terms of performance, but personally, I kind of think maybe that's just his in-ring style as he's getting a little bit on the older side, which there's nothing wrong with that, but maybe it was just a pacing issue. I'm not too sure what was going on there, but he did a lot better than I was anticipating he would do. We start getting more towards the end of the Royal Rumble, and we see Damian Priest come in, Drew McIntyre, and we see a returning Sami Zayn, which I was so incredibly excited to see that he was the 30th entry. I genuinely thought he had a chance to win the Royal Rumble. Now, getting more towards the end of the match, we actually started to see that it was the pool of people would dwindling down quite a bit. We ended up seeing that Cody Rhodes and CM Punk were the final two, which I wasn't surprised considering their segment that they had on Monday Night Raw talking back and forth with each other. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, this kind of dragged on for me in terms of them both fighting it out till the very end. I kind of wish that it sped up a little bit, but I get that they were trying to tell a story in terms of making sure that people knew that Cody and CM Punk have not only been friends in the past, but they are willing to fight each other no matter how they have to get through each other to get to the goal that they want to get. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I was a little bit disappointed in the result of this Royal Rumble match. Cody Rhodes won it for a second year in a row, which is a great achievement on its own. I'm not trying to say that that's not a great achievement, because it is. It's a great achievement to win 2 Royal Rumbles back to back. But I think the problem is the fact that last year Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble and failed to beat Roman Reigns for the championship, which kind of soured a lot of people in terms of Cody Rhodes finishing the story. Then he goes on an entire year side quest to be able to come back to this moment so that he can go ahead and challenge Roman again. For me, it very much just feels like a cut and copy and paste formula, whereas I would have preferred to see Cody Rhodes actually struggling, scratching, clawing, and begging his way to any way he can to be able to get to the main event of WrestleMania against Roman Reigns. I would have actually preferred to see Cody Rhodes go ahead and just be brutalized in the chamber for him to come away with the win. That's the last stop before WrestleMania, and I would have preferred to see him in that position rather than win the Royal Rumble twice, because I just feel as though it's the same copy and paste formula that happened last year, and I fear as though the exact same thing is going to happen with Cody again when he goes ahead and tries to challenge Roman to, finish the story. It's not going to work in the way we want. So, unfortunately, Cody Rhodes did end up throwing out CM Punk. CM Punk came second in the Royal Rumble, which I wanted CM Punk to win the Rumble. It felt like a right fit for me, but hey, at the end of the day, I don't do booking, I don't do creative, I don't do any of that. I'm just a measly wrestling fan who clearly doesn't know what's going on. But I was just kind of a little bit like, I don't know. I would have preferred to see Gunther or CM Punk win it. As I say, I would have preferred to see Cody Rhodes win the chamber. I feel like storyline-wise, if he's struggling and he's striving to finish the story, you want to give him the most brutal way to get to that point. And I just feel as though giving him the Royal Rumble win is kind of like, all right, you're the cover of 2K, you're doing this, you're doing that. Oh, here's the Royal... You know what I mean? Like, it's just... I don't know. I'm hoping the storyline is going to be good, but I just feel like that kind of soured the ending for me. Now, both champions, so Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, were both looking through skyboxes into the arena to see what was going on during the Men's Royal Rumble match. And at the very end, we got to see Cody Rhodes not only was pointing at the sign for WrestleMania, but he ended up staring down Roman Reigns, which obviously shows us who he's going to pick when it comes to going up in the main event of WrestleMania. Those are my thoughts on the Royal Rumble for this year. Make sure you go ahead and leave some comments down below of what you thought about the show. Go ahead and put a rating. Let me know what favourite debut you had or a returning superstars moment. I'd love to know what you guys think. While you're there, please go ahead and check out the description. Make sure you go ahead and check us out on all of our personal social medias so you can keep up to date with what we're doing when we're not posting on here. You'll also find links to the Outcasted Twitter, Instagram and TikTok in the description down below so you can keep up with the group's content when we're not posting on the account. You'll be getting a Raw review coming in from me on Tuesday, as well as your regular NXT, SmackDown and podcast this week. In the podcast, we're going to be talking about Royal Rumble attires, outfits, so we'll get to rate those. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this and you stuck around till the end, thank you so much. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that bell notification so you don't miss one of our uploads when we post. And I'll see you guys in the Raw review this week. Bye guys.